Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, financial, or investment advice. Information presented is from internet or other news sources. Always do your own research and due diligence. We're not responsible for and expressly disclaim all liability for damages of any kind arising out of use, reference to, or reliance on any information contained in this broadcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to Money and Change right here on the Trim Radio Network. And I'll tell you what, we've got some interesting things for you and a lot of information that happened to me last week. So anyhow, before we get going with the show, we've got a lot of stuff to do. We did the disclaimer, which is an important thing because we always have to do that, but we also have to do some big shout outs to different groups of people. And we've got some exciting news right here on the Trim Radio Network too, because that's a lot of shows are coming up, brand new shows too. So let's see what we can do here. So a big shout out to the guys at the Trim Radio Network, because I'll tell you what, they allow me to do my shows, and that's fun. I like helping people and doing shows and so forth. Oh my goodness, look what's going on my screen. They have done some different things. Holy cow. I go to do a show and, strange things are happening. Let's see if I can get back into it. By the way, hi, Jerry. I see you're in the room now, and other people will be coming in. And we welcome them to the show too. Let's see what we can do here. Well, I have to get to the show. How am I going to do the show? But see what happens when you're sick and you're off a week? Things change. And it's a shocker. It really is. Anyhow, let's see what we've got now. We're getting there. Oh, there we are. Well, anyhow, guys, a big shout out to the Trim Radio Network. And here you see the Fantastic Four. Michael Bejas, the founder. Ruscella Seffin is the chief operating officer. I guess I'm the CRO, and I still don't know what I do. And then we have Victoria Smith, the chief marketing officer, and the overall whiz kid person. I'll tell you what, she's great. Actually, all three of them are great. I just kind of hang around here and do my shows. But anyhow, the Trim Radio Network. Hey, we're out there, and you take a look at us, and we have a lot of fun. And that's the important part. We want to get out the truth, and we cut the bull and serve the truth. That's our main motto, and that's what we want to do. And, we've got a lot of stuff happening. We've got, I think, 3 or 4 new shows coming on, and we have been in negotiation with those. I believe the last week or the last 2 weeks, and it's going to be interesting. And one of the persons that were presenters, if you want to call them that I personally know, will have her own show. And I mean, she's fantastic, and she's got a lot of good information for you. And that will be Dora. And so you want to check up on Dora. And we had a good discussion a couple of months ago about her coming on and doing her own show with her own life experiences and everything. And that's one of the things that she's going to talk about. So that's going to be interesting. And then we've got a few other people that are very interesting. Well, anyhow, a big shout out to the Trim Radio Network for carrying the show. Because, hey, all 4 of us have fun with our shows, and you will too. All you have to do is say, hey, I want to join the Trim Radio Network group. All you have to do is hit this little red dot over here on the side. And you put your name in, your phone number. I want to know more about doing my own show. Here's my email address. Here's my cell phone number. Call me. And all you have to do then is just click send the message, and somebody will contact you. Actually, what happens is that there happens to be a message that's automatically sent out. Thanks for contacting us and so forth. And actually, the next day, some live person will get with you. Okay. So check out the Trim Radio Network. If you want to do your own show, it's easy because if I can do it, you can do it. Seriously. It's just making sure that the changes and updates that StreamYard likes to do, you can anticipate. So there were some changes that happened just before the show, and I was in total panic. I hate being in total panic. I mean, gee whiz, all I need to do is have any one of these three people start laughing at me because I'm in panic. And we don't need that. Well, anyhow, guys, we've got that. We've got to talk about the University of Findlay later on in the show, because I always give a pat out on the back to the University of Findlay. And by the way, Dr. Kathy Fell is retiring in 2026. She's been there quite a while, did a lot of fantastic work for the university, and we're going to miss her. We really are going to miss her. Also, big shout out to Rusty Duck's Custom Pens and Blanks. If you need custom pens made or any type of presentation device, get a hold of Phil at Rusty Duck's Custom Pens and Blanks. They're on Facebook. He does fantastic work, okay? Oh, and, we've got Money and Change every Sunday night at 7 p.m. We've got My World every Wednesday at 8 p.m. And my world, we kind of cut back. I don't have to talk about finance and money, worry about things like that. I can talk about what's going on. We can joke around. We can have some fun. And we do that on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Also, big shout out to, the Big Family Homestead with Brad and Krista. They're on YouTube. Check them out. Deep South Homestead at Pecan Grove with Danny and Wanda King. Great people. I mean, really great people. Southern Prepper One with Dave Kobler. I've known him for almost 16 years. Great guy. He's talking about finance, boots on the ground, all that kind of stuff. A little bit of prepping. Check him out. Dave's a good guy. He really is. Also, we've got Patriot Nurse with Rachel, and she talks a little bit about herbal medicines and a lot of different topics. She's good. She was a psychiatric nurse, um, emergency room nurse, highly qualified person. Check her out. She's on YouTube. Also, we've got Prepper Princess with Amber Stork, and Amber is fantastic. She's a self-made millionaire. Check her show out. She makes a lot of sense and shows you how to save money. Also, we've got the LDS Prepper with David Gilmore, and daggone it, Dave, you've done it to me. And I'll tell you what, 700 videos on YouTube. I mean, the guy's good at what he does. And one of them is communication. He talked me into getting a GMRS radio license. And for $35, you get a license that's good for 10 years. It's like $3.50 a year. Anybody can use your call sign in your family. Yeah, like your mom, your dad, your kids, your wife if you have one. I'll tell you what, it's great. With this radio, it's an Ocean 935G Plus with a Nagoya 771G antenna. Why is that important? Well, this gets out 35 miles. I can get to a repeater in Dayton, Ohio, and get out 90 miles beyond that. And you learn to talk to different people. It's great in emergency communications. When the power goes out, these things can be a lifesaver because the power goes out, the phones go out, right? The cable goes out and your phone's attached to your cable. These come in handy. I've used them before and they're great. This is not a bubble wrap radio that you happen to get at Walmart or Costco. I usually get these from Better Safe Radio. They're not paying me to tell you that, but Better Safe Radio or buy2wayradios.com. They have these. These are the good ones. Okay. They're really good. Wow. What else is going on? Oh, yeah. our shows. The shows that we have, we've got, of course, Money and Change, Life Walk with Christ God. That's with Michael Bejas. We've got My World, Live Life, and Whatever. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m., we've got the Natural Marketer Podcast with Victoria Smith. And I'll tell you what, she's great at marketing. And if you have a club or a business, fraternity, sorority, I don't care. If you want to do some effective marketing, Victoria is the one to talk to, and listen to her show. It's every Thursday. We've got Offsides College Football Top 25, Offsides Football with Michael Bejas and friends. And I know Michael Bejas likes to talk about Ohio State and other schools. I wish he would talk about the University of Findlay, because the University of Findlay is undefeated. They're one of, I believe, top 8 in the country that are undefeated in Division II NCAA football. Oh, yeah. So they barely squeaked out this last week. They beat a team by, I think it was Ohio Dominican, and they beat them by, I believe, 2 points. So it was a good game from what I heard. Positude Podcast, check that one out. Friday, 8 p.m. And we've got Adventure Waits Around the Bend on Saturday at 1 p.m. And we have Ranch It Up with Tigger and Beck. And I'll tell you what, they're at 1:30. Also, you have to check out Rascala Stephens' show. It's the Red Pill Reality Show. It's at 9 p.m. and it goes from 9 till midnight. And he has some really good guests, and they talk about a lot of different things. And he just got back from a trip. He went to Egypt. And he even had a picture. He was dressed up like the Pharaoh. So I don't know whether to bow to him or ask him for the red pill or the blue pill, or he gives me the green pill or a kidney tracer, whatever. But anyhow, Rascala is a fantastic person. Like I said, he's our computer guru. But he just got back from a trip to Egypt, and he might be talking about that too. Also, you notice 3 blanks? Well, those are soon going to be filled, because my friend Dora is going to be doing her own show. And maybe I can talk her into doing a couple more shows. She's fantastic. And she's had a lot of broadcast experience. And she's good. She really is a kind-hearted person. I can't say enough about her. Okay? So you want to check her show out. And then we've got 2 others coming in. And those will be announced a little bit later. So those are our shows. And if you want to do it, we'll add more shows. The more shows we add, the better, because we want to go ahead and get the truth out there and cut the bull, if you know what I mean. Okay, now how can you support us? It's very easy. Buy the merchandise, or as Michael says, buy the merch. Well, you can do that. You can buy the merchandise. You can donate to support the shows, or you can advertise. Now, the money that we get from all this goes to pay for airtime, because airtime isn't cheap. It's like I say on my Wednesday show, it's airtime ain't cheap. But that's true. It's not cheap. You have to pay server time, everything associated with it. And we don't get paid for doing our shows. None of us do. I really don't want to get paid for doing my shows. Why? I just want to be able to help people. If I can help 1 person or 2 people or 10 people or 50 people, that's fantastic. So that's a little bit about Money and Change and Trim Radio, okay? We've got our own Facebook page, people, and I've told you about this, facebook.com/groups/Money and Change. It's easy to join. Just ask and we will invite you. You know that little red dot over the right-hand corner on the trim page? Say, hey, I want to join Stu's group. Click on it. Fill out the paperwork, send it. I'll get the information. I will add you, okay? You have to be on Facebook for that one. But We do a lot of our stuff here. And what do we talk about? Well, the shows. And I always put up something that says, join me for a live edition of Money and Change on trimradio.com, 7 p.m. Okay? And underneath it, in the comment section, I've got everything there that we're going to talk about. Well, almost. I will probably have some other things included too. But in case I don't get to something because I've talked too long on a subject, guess what? It's listed here. And all you have to do is go to the comment section and you'll find everything listed there. Okay? It's easy to do and easy to join. Just ask and we'll get you in there. And also, videos are updated usually, once or twice a week. And you can take a look here. I've got different ones. Government shutdown ahead, and only you can fix this. I've got other ones. We're on our own, and other things. Okay, so it's right here, and you can check us out. All right. Wow. What are we going to do next? Oh yeah, I got to tell you something. You get prepared and you want to go to your college you graduated from or you attended, and you're prepping, you're getting ready, you're getting everything put together. You've got your luggage all set up, you've got your clothes all set up, you've got everything you need for your trip. You've paid big money for housing because during homecoming, guess what? Lodging is not cheap. They double everything. And then you have, you're getting your gas card or whatever you need, cards for restaurants that you can use while you're on the road. You even go out and you invest in different types of tickets, for example, football tickets. And I went ahead and did that. And I felt really good. I'm getting packed. I'm getting ready for this. And the day before, I went to a restaurant and I ate something. And they said, "Oh, we're trying a new taco salad. Would you like to try it?" And I thought, taco salad wouldn't bother me. I ate it. It tasted okay. It was okay. It really was. And I knew the people that ran the restaurant and everything. And all of a sudden, about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I developed food poisoning. Here I had all this money, some of it on plastic, which my rule on plastic is you pay it off as soon as the bill comes. You never carry things over because you're going to pay interest. And who wants to pay interest? Well, guess what? I was sick all day Friday and we'd planned to leave about 10 o'clock the next morning, and there was no way for me to go anywhere. Montezuma's revenge, we were at war quite a while. And I thought, okay, well, I'll go Saturday. We were at full-fledged war at that time, and there's no way I could go. I tried to cancel my lodging deal, and I couldn't do it. No refunds. So basically, I'm out a little over $800. And it was in a nice hotel, and it was on campus. I couldn't use my tickets. I couldn't sell them off because it was last minute type of thing. And so you're losing money there. I did not feel well at all. Besides being sick from food, I'm sick from not having a good time. And homecoming at Ohio University is fun. It is one of the most fun times of anybody's existence. If you went to Ohio University, you would understand what I'm talking about. I've had friends that go down there just to see what goes on during homecoming. Well, I missed it this year, and I'm still kind of My temperament is burning. And there's nothing I can do. I lost the money. And I figured about $1,500. And that wasn't good because I counted to be at a reunion and be there with all my friends, what friends I have. But anyhow, all my friends, and kick back and have a good time. And I couldn't do that. So the moral of the story is keep hot foods hot, cold foods cold. Don't try to experiment food before you go. Only eat the true and tried things that you can eat. And if it doesn't taste good, don't eat any more of it. That's my word to the wise for everybody. That's my community service announcement, I guess is what we'll call that. Well, what was it like in Athens? Well, I'll tell you what. Athens is Athens, and it can be a fun time. Let's see what it was like. Let's see if I can get this going for you. And that was Ohio University. That was the short part. They have a parade that's about 45 minutes to an hour long. And of course, the university band is the big hit of the parade. But then there's the alumni band, and I would have been in that. And they had between 500 and 600 members in the alumni band. And that's a big to do in Athens. Oh, it's a big party atmosphere. It really is. Oh, well, next year. God willing, and the creek don't rise. Hopefully, I'll be there. And hopefully, a lot of my guys will be there too. What else is going on? Well, what's the economic impact to Athens? I asked that. Artificial intelligence. Yeah, this is one of the few times that I've used it. And you can see here on the screen, homecoming at Ohio University provides significant short-term economic boost to Athens, primarily driven by a surge in tourism from returning alumni students and their families. They also have Parents Weekend, and that brings a lot of the parents and families down there for that. But Athens and their homecoming is something else. I'm just going to put it at that. You have to experience it. You can see it on YouTube. You can see the homecoming parade, Ohio University 2025 homecoming. But the economic benefits, increased hospitality spending, influx of visitors lead to high demand for local hotels, which I had to book 8 months in advance. Yeah, 8 months in advance just to get a place to stay in Athens. Everything gets booked up. It really does. And so the occupancy rates and local tax revenue for the city, oh, geez, they make a killing on that. Restaurants and bar revenue. Wow. I mean, yeah, the restaurants and bars are really hopping, and they are hopping on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I imagine even Sunday. Retail sales, local businesses, including souvenir shops at Court Street, and substantial increase in sales at merchandise and other item areas. Yeah, big time. Multiple effect. Well, money spent at local businesses has a multiplier effect on the wider economy. For example, a restaurant that benefits from homecoming traffic may in turn increase its spending with local food suppliers. And if Ohio University was not in Athens, instead of being a community, I'm going to say without the university being there, probably 30,000, it might be 12,000 people. Down in Appalachia, where it's at, I'll tell you what, um, things would be awful slim pickings, if you know what I mean. The example of homecoming economic value tourism as a lifeline, as seen during COVID-19 pandemic, the absence of homecoming crowds causes a massive economic shock, and I mean a big shock. Hotels lost millions of dollars, and local businesses on streets like Court Street or State Street face severe financial hardships, with many closing permanently. Part of a larger system, homecoming is a key part of Ohio University's overall economic influence in the region. A 2017 study found that the university's operations, student spending, and alumni activity collectively contributed nearly $3 billion in income to the state economy. Oh, yeah. So we're talking some money there. And it's great to be there. And due to food poisoning, I missed out. Well, it looks like the restaurant where I ate, I'm going to have to cross them off, at least before homecoming, and eat my tried and true vegetable soup before I go, I guess. Wow. What else is going on? Oh, yeah. Fringe theories for a faulty financial system. This was done by Jim Rickards, and it was in Zero Hedge. Of course, Jim Rickards writes for the Daily Reckoning. He says, we're obviously living in tumultuous times. If investors sense they're on a financial roller coaster, they're right. And right now, people are actually sweating it out because you don't know what's going to happen. The stock markets, stocks go up, they go down, they go up, and they go down. People are trying to figure out how much they're going to be spending for food because food gets expensive. Gasoline prices are starting to go up and down again. What do you do? I mean, you don't know what's going on. Well, anyhow, Jim says, recently I scanned my market tickers and saw everything was up. Stocks, bonds, gold, silver, dollar, cryptos, and commodities were all advancing. And of course, that didn't last. The next day, cryptos crashed and stocks were down sharply. Even gold suffered its worst day in a decade on Tuesday, a day before notching new record highs. Remember what I told you guys about crypto? If you can't hold it in your hand, if you can't see it, feel it, taste it, don't buy it. It's just ones and zeros. And Rickards knows about that. Well, anyhow, these types of markets demand discipline, but they also give rise to what Rickards calls, only describes fringe theories. And even seasoned market analysts, with good reputations will write Rickards with theories they've heard, and they ask what he thinks about it. Well, the main theme on the whole thing is somehow the U.S. Treasury is working on a technical default on government debt. And there are a couple theories. First theory is a U.S. debt default, and the easiest way to default is simple inflation. Even 4% inflation will cut the value of the dollar in half in just 18 years and half again in another 18 years. That means the dollar will lose more than 75% of its purchasing power in a typical 40-year career, beginning at the age of 23 and retiring at the age of 63. Inflation higher than 4% will decimate the dollar even faster. Now, there won't be a formal default on U.S. Treasury debt or anything like it, including forced debt swaps or maturity swaps. The U.S. can always find buyers for Treasury debt, starting with the big U.S. banks and the Fed if needed. foreign countries, I don't know if they're going to be buying our debt as much as they were. And the BRICS countries, from what I see, they're not going to buy into our stuff. They're going to have their own system. And when that kicks in, we could be in trouble. And I think Rickards will eventually get into that, maybe in a couple more articles. He says you can still have debt and deficits, but if the debt to GDP, gross domestic product ratio, is dropping, we're moving in the or in the right direction, and the markets will give the US time. That ratio dropped from 114% in 1945 to 32% in 1980. And deficits and annual debt were both 3 times higher in 1980 than in 1945. Now, theory 2 is a dual debt system. Another theory is the U.S. will go to a dual debt system with gold-backed dollar for domestic transactions and pure paper dollar for foreign transactions. But that's highly unlikely because BRICS are going to a mixed currency basket, including gold. So you want to check that up. Another side effect would be Gresham's law. And that says that bad money drives out good. As applied to this scheme, investors would hoard the gold dollars and dump the paper dollars. You see, right now we're on a fiat currency. It's a paper money. And if we default on that, we have nothing. It's just paper. And you take a look at the wire mocked situation in Germany at the end of, I believe, World War One. A wheelbarrow of Deutschmarks would get you a loaf of bread. I don't think we're going to go to that, but who knows? Dollar bills could be worthless. And I tell you to pay down your debt, put some money aside, buy some long-term food, be able to purify and store water, 3 gallons per person per day. Make sure you have a good first aid kit. Make sure you have the clothing for the season. It's getting cold here in Ohio, so it's time for winter clothes. Make sure you have alternative heating sources. Make sure you have plenty of batteries. Make sure you have maybe even solar panels, a generator. If the power goes out, you never know what you need. You have to be prepared. But the other thing is, too, once you've done all of that, you can go ahead and you can purchase precious metals. Now, I don't care who you buy them from. I've used APMEX, Silver.com, and a few others. Do I have a lot? No. But I have some in case there's an emergency, and it's very well put away, too. But that's what you do. There's a crisis going on all over the world. And like he says here, a global liquidity crisis. No one really understands the dollar, and people talk about the dollar being up or down or sideways. And it's compared to what, according to what he says? On a given day, the dollar can be up against the yen, down against gold, and sideways against the euro. Was the dollar up, down, sideways that day? Who knows? You just have to constantly look at the Forex, the foreign exchange, to see how things are going. And if you use gold as a way to measure the dollar, don't look at the dollar price per ounce. Instead, what's the weight of the gold that you get for $1? And the answer in 71 was 0.02857 ounces. Excuse me. The answer in 80 was 0.00125 ounces. And that's a 95.6% devaluation in 9 years. A 95.6% devaluation. If you had the same devaluation measured by weight of gold today, then gold would be over $94,000 an ounce. Holy cow, that's a lot. Well, you can always follow Jim Rickards You can always take out a little bit of time to look at zero hedge. But either way, get that debt paid down. Put some money aside. You have to have an emergency fund. What happens if your car breaks down? You got a hole in the roof, whatever. You're not going to use it with that piece of plastic. It may work for a little bit, but then you're going to have to pay down your debt or you're going to have a lot of interest. Okay. Just a heads up on that one. And the debt clock, you take a look at it, we're at 38 trillion, 35 billion, 859 million and climbing. That's $110,671 per citizen, and for taxpayers, $327,507. And what are we taking in? Gee, we're taking in federal tax revenues 5,262,000,000,000, and we're 38 trillion in debt. Does that ring a bell? It scares the heck out of me. I hope it does you. Hey, General Gen Z's, Generation Z, economic prospect. Well, according to Jeffrey Tucker, the Epoch Times, or Epic Times, depending on how you want to call it, it looks grim. And the generation of young people just starting out in their careers faces uphill battle like anything confronted by their parents and grandparents. It seems like when I graduated from college. I had to take extra schooling. And I had a little work on the side, and that was it. It was scary. But they're saying over 20 years from 2005 to 2025, the cost of all essentials has soared. Housing is up 120%. Transportation is up 86%. Education is up 133%. Groceries are up 79%. Entertainment is up 100%. Well, you can control your entertainment cost. Utilities are up 53%. I imagine with all these data centers that they want to build, it's going to go even higher. Time to save for house down payment has gone from 8 to 14 years. Long time ago, right after World War II, money was tight and it was scarce, but people could get housing through the GI Bill. And now they're saying it's down payment, which used to be $20,000, has gone up from 8 to 14 years. Average student debt burden has moved from $20,000 to $30,000. I know when I went to school, I had a little bit of debt at the end. I had $6,000 I had to owe. Guess what? I paid it off in a year. And then I went to graduate school, and that was even more money. But it was all paid off by the time I graduated, so I didn't have any debt there. The real increase in salaries is 12%. What do we get for a cost of living adjustment? 2, 3%? It's not a lot. Health insurance these days is a killer of living standards, ranging from $27,000 on the business side, and that's without using it. Housing owners seem largely out of question. Housing ownership, I'll put it that way, is out of question. Why? You look at the price of houses. You know, what cost maybe $50,000 in, I'm going to say 1960 or 1970 is now maybe close to $200,000. It's scary out there. It is really scary. And you've got a little bit of thing called dramatic devaluation of the currency over 5 years. I don't think it's going to get better. So save your money as much as you can. You have to work extra jobs, work them. Okay, here's one. AI. Remember I talked about using it? Well, guess what? using AI in your business. Listen to this.
There's always this debate, is AI going to take humanity away from us? And you literally are just saying, if you haven't lived an experience, lived in the industry, you're probably not going to be the best use case for AI.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think AI is going to change every aspect, at least of knowledge work, right? So I think like white collar workers should really jump on AI, adopt AI now, because AI is not going to take the job, but somebody using AI will take the job.
Every day, I think in the news, we hear about copycat AI, deep fakes, and you all are such a legitimate company, as we heard, with 30,000 years of data. I mean, how do folks sort through that?
Yeah, I think it's a real problem right now, right? Because there's so much noise in the market and so many like new companies popping up every like day or so. But I really think if you're a business owner, right, you don't want to just trust with your data and with your business success, like somebody random that just pops up and says like, yeah, I can do that too. So I would be really careful as a business owner to evaluate like, who am I buying AI from? How long have they been around? Have they been doing this with other customers in my segment, right? Because there's a lot of noise also, like you can do everything with like OpenAI or Anthropic. Like you cannot, they're not trained on, in my case, they're not trained on construction data. So I think business owners in all industries should be really clear about like buying vertical specific AI from companies who have done this for a while.
That's really important advice. So our big idea question is, how do I streamline an industry through AI? So let's say they have lived in this industry, they've breathed it.
Yeah.
What would be that first step then to think about how to evolve?
I think they should really start with one workflow, right? Like people always like, it's unfair for anybody listening to us right now. We've raised $70 million, right? Like that's a lot of money. I have over 100 employees. Right?
Lord, I have to just say, well done. I know how hard that is, especially for women. Oh my Lord, 70 million. Whew. Are you okay?
I'm recovering. But don't be scared of that, right? We didn't start like that. We picked one specific workflow.
But you never heard no either.
Oh, we heard a lot of no's, but I don't take no's.
Because I want people to know I'm sorry to digress, but I want people to know you are going to hear no a lot, and it's okay. So to get to 70 million, you probably have. Yeah. Okay. Keep going. Sorry to interrupt.
No, I actually love that because again, people look at my resume or at our company, right? It's like, oh, it's always up and to the right. It's not, right? But like your job is to, when it's not up and to the right, to find a way to turn it back up and to the right. And
Absolutely.
So how to start, pick one workflow that is highly repetitive, that you really deeply understand, where you think most of the other people don't deeply understand that, and start building AI for that, and then take it from there.
Let's get to what you think people should be doing in this market.
We're not going to talk about that market. Actually, we're going to get away from that market because we got to talk about the University of Findlay, believe it or not. And so we're going to go ahead and do that.
Hey, I'm Jess. So you came from Michigan. I did. The amount of different restaurants that I've gone to since being here that I didn't know existed that have changed my life is insane. But I think my favorite Finley tradition is steak night every month. The pasta, epic. The breadsticks, to die for. I didn't know what a Buckeye was before I got here. That was crazy. I thought it was a peach, like similar to a fruit. Found out it's not. We have beat Ohio State all 4 years since I've been here. Yeah, probably leave that part out. Support Finley all the way. It can be really scary at first if you are trying to decide to go to a small school and go to a brand new area, but I don't regret it at all. As much as I'll say Finley's the most awesome place, it was the people that made it. I'm going to miss my roommates that I've met, my best friends who I haven't gotten to live with, but still basically live with because I go visit them every single day. Like the amount of people that I've met and gotten close with at Finley, they really touched my lives, and I'm going to miss getting to talk to them and be a 5-minute drive away from them around town. Well, I think some of my favorite memories, I was trying to choose between all of the trips we've gone on through soccer that we've just been able to go to Ireland and going to horse races at Keeneland. That was awesome. All my favorite memories are just because of the people. They're not even like about the actual memory. They're just about the people that I met at Finley. honestly, over time, I've become so close with everybody in my major. It's such a tight-knit group. We're so small, but I love everybody in that program. And when I walk into classroom every single day, they all put a smile on my face. So, can we study together? And then you're like, can we start to hang out socially or something? Peace out, Finley.
Yeah, your success is our priority, and that's what it is at the University of Findlay. So you got to check them out. 12-to-1 student to faculty ratio, 4,700 students plus 40 states. They're from 40 states and 41 countries. Ohio's 10 most affordable colleges, according to Money Magazine. Best Midwestern colleges in 2025 from the Princeton Review. The best colleges in America in 2024 with Money Magazine. Check them out, www.findlay.edu. And go Oilers. Let's go ahead and have a perfect 10-0 season, please, because you're on your way. What else is going on, guys? IRS reinstates 20,000 or 200 transaction threshold for Form 1099-K. The Internal Revenue Service on October 23rd issued a fact sheet confirming that the higher reporting threshold Form 1099-K has been restored under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, reversing changes made during Biden administration where they really wanted to learn everything that you were doing. Well, anyhow, it's returning to the pre-2021 standard. Before 2021, the TIPSOs, or third-party settlement organizations, were required to issue a Form 1099-K only if a seller received more than $20,000 and conducted at least 200 transactions during the year. The 2021 American Rescue Act plan lowered that threshold to $600, triggering a widespread criticism from taxpayers and digital payment platforms who warned the rule would swamp casual sellers with unnecessary paperwork. The IRS initially attempted to phase in the lower limit, proposing $5,000 for the 2024, $2,500 for 2025, and $600 from 2026 onward. But the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, signed by President Trump on July 4th, permanently repealed those reductions. So the gross payments to a payee exceed $20,000 and the number of transactions exceed 200, then you have to report it. Okay. The income still taxable with or without Form 1099-K. Okay, here's the information right there. It tells you what's going on. And that's why I have that link in our comment section so you can check the rest of the article. Okay? Moving on. Wow. I got to get this re-keyed up to the top because we're going to talk about how to financially survive a job furlough. Yeah, they come in and they say, pack your stuff up, you're out of here. What? Yeah, we're letting all your division go. We no longer need 300 employees. Pack up, you're out of here by the end of the day. And oh, by the way, behave yourself while you're here and when you leave. So how do you financially survive a job furlough? And of course, this was in Yahoo Finance. And, you have a lot of furloughs, especially in the government. Well, the government shutdown, which began October 1st, has left many federal employees out of work, but not necessarily out of a job. Instead, more than 700,000 federal workers have been furloughed, meaning they've been put on temporary unpaid leave due to a lack of government funding. Nearly the same number are continuing to work without pay. But government workers aren't the only ones at risk of being furloughed. Companies can choose to furlough their employees for various reasons, such as economic downturns, seasonal fluctuations, or budget constraints. And we'll go by the different loan things there. What does it mean to be furloughed versus laid off? A furlough is a short-term unpaid leave from work where the employer intends to bring employees back once conditions improve. And that means that you're still technically employed and usually keep your workplace benefits such as health insurance, life insurance, and disability coverage. A layoff, on the other hand, ends employment and benefits entirely. And companies often lay off employees when they restructure or downsize due to long-term financial challenges. And following a layoff, employees may be eligible to receive severance pay, COBRA, health coverage options, and unemployment benefits. What do you do if you've been furloughed? Even if you haven't lost your job permanently, being furloughed can have devastating effects on your finances. And with no clear end in sight, an extended furlough can put you in an increasingly precarious financial situation. So you want to apply for unemployment benefits. And generally, furloughed workers are eligible to collect unemployment benefits. And the first step is to contact your state unemployment agency insurance office to get more information about your eligibility. Now, it can take a couple of weeks to start receiving benefits once you file a claim. This is where that emergency fund comes in, emergency savings account. This is where prepping by storing up on food, and keeping some extra cash at home while you are employed. And people say, well, I'm not a prepper. Well, I'm not a prepper either. But I know if there's a financial downturn, I can still purchase things for a while, not on credit. And I know that I've got extra food in the house, so I can survive that way. I do have some extra gasoline for in emergency only. And I've got other things that, if you need dish soap or whatever, I always have at least a couple extra bottles on hand because you might need them and they may not be available. That's what the pandemic did. People started stocking up on toilet paper. They started stocking up on paper towels, dishwashing liquid, other types of soaps, laundry soaps, and so forth. And that's what they're doing. And this is when you need it. It's when you have a furlough situation. Create a lean budget. Always live beneath your means now. So, you have extra money later on. I've been talking about that for I don't know how many months. Alert your creditors, say, hey, I've got a furlough situation and I'm repaying debt and like credit card or student loan or auto loan, and reach out to your creditors to see, to basically tell them that you've been furloughed and to try to make some type of an arrangement. Okay. They might give you 90-day not furlough from payment, but a break on your payment. They might say, okay, we'll give you 30 days or we'll give you 60 days, but then you have to pay with interest and so forth. Consider taking on a new source of income. Get another part-time job. And when will the government shutdown end? Well, when the politicians quit politicking, okay? And that's the big thing. Long-term shutdowns, here's the chart. Hey, it's in the comment section so you can find out all of this stuff, okay? Going on, because we only got a few minutes, and I know I'm not going to get everything covered I want to cover. Outlook for treasuries.
If we were going into a recession, we might not even know right now because we don't have the data. I am curious, heading up into the government shutdown, we had a lot of conversations with people who were saying, well, we're going to be watching sort of the private data sources much more carefully. It hasn't seemed like there's been much reactivity in the market to any of those private data sources. So are you watching them, and what are we learning, if anything, about the labor market specifically?
Yeah, we are watching them. And what we're really seeing from the private side is very consistent data with what is kind of a softening labor market, not one that's falling off a cliff by any stretch, It's certainly softening. So I think the risk is that if the Fed stays maybe too tight for too long, we could see a more dramatic softening in the market. And at this point, we've seen the unemployment rate go up about 0.9%, almost 1 full percentage point in the last year. We think that if we trigger above 4.5%, then it could become kind of a self-reinforcing storyline where companies see that weakness, a little bit of weakness in demand, cut some more workers, and all of a sudden you get a little bit of a sharp rise in unemployment. I think that's what the Fed's trying to stay in front of by going from kind of what we would call a modestly restrictive policy today to something closer to neutral over the next couple of months.
Yeah.
Well, big tech taking center stage.
Oh no, big tech. We're not going to talk about big tech tonight. Why? Because we're just about out of time. Hey, which streaming services are the most expensive? I saw this pop up from Statista, and you take a look at what they have. Oh, I know, accept all cookies and everything else. Which streaming services are expensive? We've got Disney, we've got Hulu, Netflix, Max, Apple TV, and Prime Video. Are you having problems with your internet provider? You know, sometimes the bills get to be $300 a month for things that you don't really want to watch. Do you want to go back to an antenna? But then you need internet. I need internet to do the show. I've got VoIP on my phones. I can't do it over GMRS radio. By golly, I would if I could. What do we do? What was it in King and I? They said, it's a puzzlement. Well, it is. What do you do? I'm looking personally at Starlink. And if I can use Starlink and still have a phone set up some way, somehow, I'll do it. Because Starlink, I think, is about $120 a month. And that's significant savings, over $300 a month. And I think cable is, well, outpricing themselves. So with that, guys, that's all I've got for this week. Hey, I'm glad as punch to be back on the air. And we'll talk with you on Wednesday next week when we talk about anything we want. Have a little fun too. Check us out on My World Wednesday at 8 p.m. With that, have a good week. Save your money. Live beneath your means. And we'll talk to you next Sunday. Bye.